Hi everyone, this is Stacy. Welcome to my channel. So when I was studying or working abroad, one of the most frequent questions I got asked is, why is the Chinese attitude towards Japanese like that? I always started my answer with the sentence, well, it's a complicated story. But how complicated? Today, let's dive into the Unit 731, which was built by Japanese Army in northeastern China to develop experimentations for biological and chemical weapons. And this is the must-learn history in China for everyone. 3 things you must know about Unit 731. Firstly, the human body's water content is 78%, but do you know the story behind it? In the Far East land back in 1930s, the Unit 731 of Japan conducted a horrifying experiment where they steamed alive Chinese people for 15 hours to determine the body's water content. As only 22% of weight remained, they concluded that water constitutes 78% of the human body's weight. Second thing, the Unit 731 was a laboratory for human experimentation, but disguised as water purification unit. The experimentation subjects were mainly Chinese, either civilians or war prisoners, ranging from newborn babies to the elderly. Over 3,000 people have been tortured to death in Unit 731, and this human experimentation lasted from 1936 to 1945 when Japanese surrendered. Those people are no longer treated as human beings. Instead, they are directly assigned numbers and collectively called maluda as an insult. It refers to a piece of wood that can be chopped, discarded, and burned at will. So why do Japanese give them this collective name? Let's explore the variety of brutal experimentation on human subjects conducted in Unit 731. Vivisection. Subjects were dissected alive without anesthesia to observe the effects of disease and injuries on internal organs, as they believed that the data obtained after anesthesia were inaccurate. This cruelty was not limited to adults. Children have their heart cut out while still alive, and their hearts were observed to continue beating in jars. Starvation experimentation. They got the conclusion that people can live for 5 to 7 days without food and water, and around 60 days without food, but still having access to water. Maternal love laboratory. They set up a special room and brought in a mother and a child, locking them inside. Then they heated the room gradually. They wanted to see if the mother would choose to protect the child, holding him to shield him from the intense heat, or whether the mother would step on the child to protect herself from being burnt. Animal blood experimentation. They would jam people of blood and replace it with horse blood to observe humans' reactions. Infectious disease experimentation. Victims were deliberately infected with disease such as bubonic plague, anthrax, cholera, and syphilis to observe the progression of illness and develop biological weapons. Frostbite. Prisoners were subjected to extreme cold temperatures to study the effects of frostbite, including gangrene and amputation. They even discovered the most effective way to remove human bones from its flesh in Unit 731, frozen people, and then put boiling water over them. Forced pregnancy. Female prisoners were forcibly impregnated to study childbirth and develop technique to control population. Weapon testing. Prisoners were exposed to biological and chemical weapons, including poison gas and toxic substance, to assess their effectiveness in combat. Weapon wounds. Prisoners were deliberately wounded with various weapons, including firearms and explosives, to study the effectiveness of battlefield injuries and develop treatments. Pressure chambers. Victims were subjected to high-pressure environment to study the effects of high-altitude sickness and developed countermeasures for pilots. The experimentation list is endless and way more disturbing. If you ever visited the site of Unit 731 in Harbin City of China, you will be suffocated. The mysterious disappearance of Unit 731 without facing any trial In August 1945, Japan surrendered and Unit 731 was evacuated, and the army destroyed the old site of the unit in an attempt to destroy all evidence. All the prisoners were executed. After the end of World War II, USA reached a secret deal with the Japanese government that the war criminal Shino Ishii, the leader of Unit 731, will be given immunity from prosecution in exchange for all the experimentation data and research. After the Sino-Japanese War, war criminals, including 12 charged with Class A crimes, are honored at the Yasukuni Shrine, leading to attention when the Japanese government visits the shrine. And the history of Unit 731 is omitted from Japanese textbooks. It also explains why most Japanese are unaware of Unit 731. While the world widely remembers the Holocaust of Jews during the World War II, the brutal events in the Far East often go overlooked. Besides Unit 731, another unforgettable chapter in modern Chinese history is Nanking Massacre, happened in 1937. I can vividly recall my visit to Nanking Massacre Museum, where my heart was gripped and I felt suffocated. For those interested, I recommended reading The Rape of Nanking by Iris Chang, but sadly, Chang took her own life after completing the book. Around 300,000 of Chinese people were buried alive or subjected to numerous forms of tortures before they died. During the World War II, particularly from 1930s to the end of the war, the Japanese military established a system of sexual slavery known as comfort stations. Chinese women and girls were abducted and forced to serve as comfort women for Japanese soldiers. Those women and girls were subjected to sexual exploitation, rape, physical violence, torture, and psychological trauma. On 9th November 2023, the last surviving Chinese comfort woman passed away at the age of 98. In a Chinese documentary titled 22, interviews were conducted with the last 22 surviving comfort women, shedding light on their traumatized lives after their escape or survival. Despite the suffering, they never received an apology from the Japanese government. However, in the documentary, one comfort woman called Chen Lintao expressed her sentiment in this way: I hope China and Japan can make peace with each other. No more war. Once war began, lots of people would die. To be honest, I couldn't help crying when I watched the documentary. At the end of this video, probably most of you will somehow understand the reason behind Chinese people's attitude towards Japanese. The main thing I want to advocate is not hatred between nations. Peace is precious, and I sincerely hope every nation can develop in peace and love. Thank you so much for watching.